Ayubowan. The mind is unstable. It's very unsteady. It is difficult to control it. The wise man is the one who trains his mind like a fletcher who straightens his arrow. I quoted this from Chittavagga Dhammapada. So as we start our discussion, as we initiate our discussion, Dhamma Hadaya today, it is yet another special day that has occurred once again to us, because one of our special guests is here with us from UK, all the way from UK. She's none other than Dr. Shiroma Bandara, a meditator, a teacher of meditation, and also she's a lady who has given up her profession to follow the noble Eightfold Path, the path leading towards Nibbana. Ma'am, we warmly welcome you to our studio at Dhamma Hadaya program today. And yes, now since, as I told our viewers, we have had a series of discussions about a lot about Dhamma, and then we had discussions about the Satara Satipatthana and how these practical meditation could be done. And then after that, we received lots and lots of questions from our viewers over there. So we thought we should dedicate at least 1 or 2 programs in answering their questions. Don't you think so, ma'am?
Yes, of course. And it is so happy. I'm very happy to be back here again, Sevandi. And also to find that people do really genuinely listen to the discussions, and the questions were so profound and genuine. And also to see that they were following the instructions and trying to meditate and go forward. And most of the questions were about all the obstacles they received while trying to meditate. And they have made a start, which makes me so very happy.
That's really nice to know, and it's pretty encouraging. It's really great that you have taken the trouble to write in some questions, and you know, as Dr. Shiroma said, that is because you have put a genuine effort into following the path towards freedom, towards Nibbana. So let me start with the first question I take. Well, ma'am, as I told our viewers, you left your job to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. So if you consider the Noble Eightfold Path Sammaditthi, or the right view, is the first in that. So for the first question, our viewer talks about this Sammaditthi. So we always talk about it, sometimes in mundane terms and sometimes in supramundane terms. But how can we actually put it into practice?
That's a very good question. First of all, I must say I didn't quite leave my job to follow the Eightfold Path, because viewers out there might think, oh, we have to leave our jobs now. But it is not at all necessary. Yes. But my job was particularly very demanding, and there was a lot of responsibility and deadlines and meetings, and the responsibility was overwhelming. I didn't have time to sit and meditate, or even to practice my mindfulness was a challenge. So because of that, and I thought financially I was happy with what I had, so I passed it over to a colleague and very, very gently took a back step and totally gave it up later on. But I must stress that it is not necessary to do so.
And people don't do it. Usually they keep postponing their meditation sessions and give priority to work.
Yes, that
however
is true
stressful
too.
it may be.
I know, but I can understand the financial burdens and demands that come our way. The beauty of this path, the Eightfold Path, is that you can practice while you work as well. And coming back to Sammaditthi, Ditti means like a view. So there is the mundane Sammaditthi and the supramundane Sammaditthi too. We call it Laukika and Lokottara Sammaditthi. And the sutra that comes to my mind is Mahachatta Sarika Sutra in Majjhima Nikaya. The monks come and ask the Buddha, right view, what is this right view? And he gives a beautiful explanation there. Here the mundane Sammaditthi is for someone who doesn't know anything, like as like a Mithya Drishtika person. Mithya Drishti, that's the wrong view, to right view. Basically, very, very briefly, it will be like knowing the right from the wrong. And then once you know the right from the wrong, you have to be able to separate it as you speak, as you think, as you do any actions. It has to be the right action, right word, and right thought. So then you wonder, how do I distinguish between them? And there you'll think, if it makes me happy and the other person happy, that we can categorize as a right, as opposed to wrong. And then going deeper, we will think that these thoughts, words, and deeds will have roots, 3 roots: Lobha, Moha, Dvesha. If the roots are in greed or aversion or delusion, that will obviously make the other person unhappy, yourself unhappy, so that can't be the right view, right action or right thought. So we distinguish between that with the 3 roots. If there's non-greed, non-aversion, non-delusion, that would be the right view. So that's the basic difference there. Okay. And then knowing that will lead to our kusala, kusala, the skillful actions and the unskillful actions, and thereby believing in the karma, vipaka, and the rebirth, and of course the Four Noble Truths.
Yes, ma'am. Please let me interrupt you there, because you just said that kusala and akusala is being skillful and non-skillful. Now, how do we know when we do something, how do we know whether we have been skillful or unskillful?
Yes.
Or whether we did it right?
Yeah, that is where you have to know, like this, because now you can see this will work from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, to be aware, is this skillful or is this not skillful, unskillful. So the skillful action, we will know that if it is beneficial to the other person, beneficial to yourself, and also is this useful, is this necessary, thought, word, and action. And also not to say this was done by myself, me, mine, and my things, this anatta, selflessness. So that would be more towards skillful actions, and the unskillful would be if it's not beneficial for the other person or to yourself, and also if it is not approved by the wise. If the wise people, the noble people, criticize these thoughts, words, and deeds, that is unskillful. And also the repercussions and the results of these thoughts, words, and deeds bring you suffering, that is unskillful. So it has to be judged by yourself. No one else can tell you. And the judgment is within you by what you feel. Based on these little criteria that we mentioned.
I think you know it by anyway, by gut feeling.
Exactly.
Whether it's correct, whether what you've done is correct or not correct.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And that view, that knowing, that gut feeling would be the right view, the mundane right view. And one who practices in this mundane right view, going down the Eightfold Path, that person's thoughts will change, and when the thoughts change, the word will change, the actions will change, and the view will get them to be in the present moment and meditate and right mindfulness and right concentration, and certain wisdoms will arise. And the one who practices like this will eventually, sooner or later, will fall into the mundane, supramundane right view, where being in that present moment, the person will start seeing the reality of the phenomena, the arising, passing, and the dukkha, that every phenomena, every arising is based on dukkha, jatipi dukkha. And all sankharas are anicca, dukkha, anatta. And as they see this, by just being in the present moment and watching phenomena, the mind will fall into a state of the supramundane view. So that is basically very briefly how one would travel, the mind will progress in that path. But the second part of your question, how do we practice it daily, is when you take the Eightfold Path, it starts with right view. Right view is the forerunner of all these things. So we have this right view, and right view will govern the right thought, as well as, and the right thought will govern you to keep your mind in the present moment, the right mindfulness, and you will put effort to keep it there, right effort. So the right view, right effort, right mindfulness. Because of right view, you will put the right effort to keep the mind in the awareness in the present moment, right mindfulness throughout the day. And that is all you have to do. That is all you have to do, because the rest will follow with cause and effect. And through mindfulness, you will see your mind going into calmness and concentrated mind and peaceful mind, and the right concentration will arise. And as you are in mindfulness, you will see that things are what they are, and they are true nature of phenomena, and the wisdom will arise. So that will be the effect of it. And all what one has to do is, because of right view, have right effort to keep the mind in the present moment.
Sure.
That's it. That's all. That's all that it takes. It's so beautiful and so simple.
Yeah, and a simple explanation. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I also thought now, since you talked about kusala and akusala, sometimes our viewers have this, problem. What is kusal and what is akusal? Of course, we explained it now, and then of being skillful and unskillful. But how can you take the maximum benefit of a kusala karma?
Yes, that now if we have to look at it in a way like a gradual progressing way for the maximum benefit. Say the beginner will want to know the kusala karma, will go and do skillful actions, the dana, sila, bhavana, and daily practice that, even a lot of what we call ping karmas, and they will feel happy about it, and that will be a kusala karma, and that will take them to sugati worlds here and later in the births to come. And akusala, another person might do the same things with aversion or delusion, and might go another way and create suffering for themselves, annoyance for themselves, and create their own little lower realm for themselves. But the highest, the person who will get the maximum benefit of a kusala karma would be the one who would do it selflessly. Any action, any thought, any word, if you do it because of, like put it on the rails of cause and effect, you are asked to do this and you deliver this, and that is the end of that. And you are asked to help in this ping karma. You are asked to lead this big, huge ping karma, and you do it because it's necessary. It makes the other one happy. It makes you happy. It makes thousands of people happy, and you do it because you are needed to do it. Your presence is needed there. And then you allow your presence to be there, and then you allow your skill to unfold there for that ping karma, and then when it is finished, your chetana is finished, your actions are finished, your thoughts and words are finished, you let go. And you let go, and that is the end of that phenomena. So it is totally a cause and effect phenomena, and totally selfless, and that would give you the maximum benefit out of a kusala karma.
And you also happen to give me a lovely example for our viewers to understand.
Yes, like an example, the same action. This is again put right view, the attitude and the right vision, right view, right at the top. That is right at the top all the time. So any action you do, any thought, word with the right view, it will generate the kusala kamma. So for instance, this example that comes to my mind is if you go to a well to draw water out, you can draw the water, pail of water out and collect the water for yourself, for your bathing purposes, for your cooking, for your home and your family, and you'll collect it in your pots and you'll be happy, I did this and I'm taking that to my home, that way. Another way of doing it is you draw the water out and to put into a pot you want to use it. You're doing an action and it's left there, the water is left there for your family to use it or another family to use it. And then when you go away, the water doesn't belong to you. The action, the drawing up the water doesn't, is nothing to do with you. You just did that as an action. Or even you draw the water out to throw away for some reason. And you're drawing out and throwing away. As opposed to drawing out and taking it as mine. So any action you do it for the purpose of the others, for their benefit, and that was just a mere action, a chetana and an action, an intention and an action, and an intention finished, action finished.
Right. So are you trying to say now it is something like this? For example, if you do, if you offer alms, with some expectation, so that may I be born wealthy, and with that expectation, it is like drawing water to your pots for your use. This water is mine for my family. But the second example is something like you offer alms without any expectations.
Yes, the beauty of that is whether you have expectations or not, the karma vipaka will come the same way. And if you, as you said, if you give a dana and you wish for this and that is maybe the first level of doing a dana. A higher level would be to do it for the benefit of the other person. And even higher level would be to think this action is because that person is hungry, and because with compassion I give this dana, and to let go of my lobha moha dvesha, mind and that person's. And so that will be more inclining towards nibbana and letting go, as a letting go action.
So if you have an intention of achieving nibbana through this kusala karma, to what category does it fall?
No, that is not, it's an intention, not like a desire. So that is a difference. If you have a desire, huge desires to become a nibbana, that is also not good. But then again, in one sutra that comes to my mind, that Buddha says to Venerable Ananda, in the park, Venerable Ananda asks this question: if you have a desire, even desire to achieve nibbana, it's not no good? And the Buddha replied, Venerable Ananda, when you didn't you have a desire to come to this flower park? He said, yes. Now that you have arrived here, do you still have that desire? And he says, no, sir. So exactly like that, you will have to have desire to overcome desire, and then you let go of that desire. And you eventually let go of the Dhamma itself. So if it is inclined towards Nibbana, it is the right view. And of course that entails total letting go of even the intention and the giving of the dana.
Okay, so let me take up another question, as it is about the paramids. Now, fulfilling parami, because our Lord Buddha had to fulfill paramis for a long time. If I may call it prerequisites to attain Buddhahood or to attain Nibbana. So Lord Buddha had to fulfill paramis for a long time, And people think it's tough because when you read all the stories of Lord Buddha fulfilling paramis, paramatta paramis and upaparamis and all that, so it's very tough. So especially when they think of it, when it comes to a point that our viewers or the upasakas think of meditating, sometimes they are under the impression, okay, we have not fulfilled paramis like the Buddha. So until our paramis are fulfilled, we are not going to succeed. So instead, what they do is they try to, offer alms and try to fulfill paramis and collect more kusala kammas or paramis as much as possible. And they think it is a barrier for them to attain enlightenment, to attain nibbana in some form, in some sort of way within this life. How do you see this?
Yes, that is quite unfortunate. I have had lots of questions on that topic. It's very unfortunate that that seed of doubt has come into them. And what I usually tell them is, to start with, do we know how much parami we have fulfilled? Do we know what is left, how much is left that we haven't fulfilled? And by doing more dana and more punya karma, do we know that we have achieved some more, and how much is left there? These are the questions that Buddha asked the Mahavira and the Nigantanatha Puttas when they were doing very, very strenuous giving suffering to the body to erase all their bad karmas. He asked, do you know how much bad karma is getting erased by all what you're doing? And they said, no. Then why do you do it? So we don't know for a start. So that is one thing to think about. Secondly, the Buddha had said at one time, this stanza, Anupubbena medavi tokato kang kane kane, which is so beautiful. Anupubbena is like a gradual path, is this path made to the medavi. Medavi is someone, the practitioner, who will not falter the practice no matter what obstacles come their way, what hindrances or not even a thought would let them falter their determination in the path. That is medavi. And he or she, tokato kang kane kane, that means moment to moment, kshana to kshana, kane kane, moment to moment, over and over, she practices. See, that's Buddha's teachings. Leave aside the paramis. Buddha's teachings is medavi, anupubbena medavi.
And those who have the name medavi better live by their name.
Yes. It's a gradual process. You can't achieve this overnight. It's a gradual process. And toka kang kane kane, over and over, bhavita bahulikata, moment to moment. Do that, and that is his advice. And of course we remember the last words of the Buddha, appamada, is being in that present moment. The moment you go to the past or the future, you have fallen into pramada. Yes. That there I can even say all the time you're in the present moment, you're in the truth, and you're in wisdom, and you're away from suffering. The moment you go to the and the future, you're with Mara. And it's kind of you're being unfaithful to yourself. If you're unfaithful to your partner, how bad do you feel? Right? You feel bad when if you have been in your thought or word or action unfaithful.
Yes.
So, and then you try to come back. That's how we should feel. The moment we are in the past and in the future, feel that you have been unfaithful to your practice. Be very strict with yourself. And the moment you're in the present moment, you're with Buddha, you become a Buddha Putra, and you're away from Mara. And that, the result is happiness, here and now. So for the paramis, that is all you have to do, not worry about the paramis. Then again, where practice is concerned, people would say, I have to go and do various other pinkam and I don't have time to meditate because of these paramis, so ingrained in them. If I may tell this to you might change your mind a little bit, because when you start to sit down to meditate, you have actually, what happens, you have given up your family, your social interactions with the others, and then you sit down on the floor, given up comfortable seats, then you close your eyes and ears and you focus inside. You give up all the pressures that come through your six senses, and then once you have got focused inside, you focus on your breath and you watch the breath, and you watch the breath disappearing. You let go of the breath, you let go of the breath, you let go of the five senses, and you let go of the world, and that is the highest dana. If one needs to fulfill dana paramita, that Buddha says is the highest dana paramita and highest kusala kamma. If anyone wants to go to collect kusala, watching the breath, watching anicca of the breath is the highest kusala and highest dana paramita. And then see what happens next.
May I also suggest that maybe it's also nekkhamma paramita, being detached, and prajna paramita?
You're getting there. It's you touched it. And look at shanti, kanti paramita, because you have to be restrained, and metta paramita, you have to be kind to yourself, your breath, your mind, and go with a lot of compassion, this meditation. Nekkhamma paramita, and then the aditthana paramita, you have to be determined to do this meditation. So if you sit down and think of the paramita as you do your breathing meditation, anapanasati, you will realize all the 10 paramitas are unfolding there, and you're practicing it to the deepest level. So why bother? I'm not saying don't do other things, but here, if paramita is your question, sit and see how all you overcome all your paramitas when you go to samadhi and beyond.
Yeah, and when you explain that, ma'am, I also feel that all these days we have been in a way cheating ourselves, only practicing the easy paramitas. Because then there are lots of dana. There are lots of paramitas included in one package, that is meditation.
Absolutely, especially nekkhamma and aditthana and prajna paramita. What better way to let your prajna unfold than doing the breathing meditation? So if you think about it, there's all paramitas are there in the breathing meditation.
And also, I think according to what we learn from the Dhamma, it is not that difficult to practice paramitas to be an arahat. It is only difficult to be a Pacceka Buddha and a Buddha.
Absolutely.
It's only at the surface level you have to fulfill paramitas to become an arahat.
Yes, and also if you say, I am going to do this huge pinkama because I want paramitas for me to get, there is a lot of cementing of this self-view and sakkaya ditthi. This unfolding of paramitas happen selflessly, because breathing itself is such a spontaneous action there. So
and we also happen to talk about, especially when talking about paramitas, we also have to had to talk about detachment, about letting go, with which I'm moving into our next question about detachment. And Aviva says, talking about detachment, how can you fulfill your duty to your family while practicing detachment from the family?
It's a tough question, but it is, if you get this point through, it's a really beautiful subtle point, and your life will be free from suffering, and yet you do all your duties to your family. The only way I can understand, explain this to people is say, if we take a situation where there is a ward of, there are few patients in a ward, and the doctor goes from patient to patient in the ward, and the doctor will go to this patient and say, Amma, what is wrong with you? What can I do to make you better? And give all the compassion, the duty, all the medications, 100% of what that doctor's skilled and capable of giving, he will give it to this patient with a calm mind, detached mind, very clear thinking, and he'll be able to give all the compassion, give fully to the patient. Now, after looking at that patient, the doctor will move to the next patient and draw the screen. And as he goes to the next cubicle, he's forgotten this experience altogether. He doesn't carry whatever happened, the good things and the bad things. He won't carry it to the next patient. Then he will give fully, without reservations, all what he can give in compassion, his skill and his professionalism to the next patient, and he will go on. Then follows, let's say this lady's son comes along, and then son comes along, sees the mother in pain and in agony and will be so emotional, wouldn't know what to do, where to go, what medicine to give, and he'll be crying and she's crying, and he is not capable of even serving the mother to 100%, and the emotions have come and blocked him. So Buddha's teachings is, if you can practice that detachment even to the mother, he will fall into a platform just like the doctor and will give fully. So it will not reduce how we look after the parents, children and our loved ones. It will enhance and it will make it more powerful what we give them, because our selfish emotions through attachment won't come in the way and obstruct it. So it is me,
they
mine.
overwhelm us.
Exactly, and me and mine and my feelings won't come there. But so the mother will not lose anything. In fact, she will get more from the son, because son is giving selflessly because of no attachment. But that detachment, it takes a long while to practice, and you can do it. And it's a gradual process, and when you do it so gradually, it is not a shock to your mind, and you won't feel that that underlying thing in your question was the guilt. That how can I get detached from my children, my mother, my father, my husband, because
I have to leave them.
Yes, and I feel guilty. Am I doing the right thing? But when you get detached, that when the emotion of me, mine, and my happiness from them is gone, that gap is filled with total compassion. See, these are all chaitasikas. So when one chaitasika is not in your mind, the other chaitasika is there. So this clinging and mine and the pain and the selfishness is not there. That gap is filled with total compassion. And the yogi who can practice that would go out in the world and sees a woman by the roadside suffering. He would want to run there and look after that suffering woman, just as it was your own mother there. Because it's detachment, they practice that detachment. So it's not a special treatment for your own mother, because that person is somebody else's mother. So
as mentioned in the Karaniyametta Sutra, you have to spread loving kindness like a mother who has a single child to everybody else.
Yes, and it can be possible, and the person who does that have no negative emotions there and feels good about treating, looking after and everyone. And
I also thought of the importance of asking this question, ma'am, because still up to this day people accuse Prince Siddhartha for leaving his wife and his son. So this is renunciation, detachment.
Yes. In fact, you mentioned this beautiful memories come. I have been in England watching this series called The Buddha that Mr. Modi, a producer, had produced, and he must have done such profound research onto it. There is not one word was out of place there, and actually watching that made my Shraddha for Prince Siddhartha grow more. We have Shraddha for Buddha.
Yeah.
I have Shraddha for Siddhartha after watching that, and how they have shown his qualities. And I don't know the truths of these, but how they have showed it, that he didn't just leave the wife and the child just like that, because throughout when he saw suffering, he was talking to Yashodhara.
Yes.
Because they were very loving couple. So and Yashodhara was fully aware of his dejections and how he was having difficulties to face suffering of the world, and in fact the suffering of other people. So she knew that he will one day leave. She knew, and he had indicated in more than one way. And how the story goes, that she had even prepared Channa to get his carriage ready and to look after him. So these are all in Dhamma. The explanation that comes to my mind is these are all causes and effects, millions of causes and effects set thousands of births ago. And these unfoldings 2,500 years ago set the causes for what's unfolding here right now. Yeah. So it's a process of causes and effects, that then who are we to question that?
And those two came a long journey in samsara together.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So the causes, and it is beyond our mind. Our mind cannot fathom these processes.
Yeah, because we try to think in mundane terms, and we try to judge, which is wrong.
Exactly. And after all, at the end, Yashodhara and Rahul spiritually benefited to the maximum. And there you are. So what is more important than that?
Definitely, yes. Well, thank you so much for that explanation as well, ma'am. Let me move into another question. We have something which penetrates into Dhamma. What is the difference between Panchaskandha and Pancha Upadana Khandha?
Right, yes. Panchaskandha, we all know the five aggregates. The material world, the Rupa, your Rupa, Ajatva, Bahijatva, internal, external. And then the Vedana, feeling, sanya, perception, sankara, mental formations, and vijnana, consciousness. That is the five aggregates. And they arise, they are skandha. The panchaskandha is like collections. They are like in the universe, there are these energy collections arising and passing. Perceptions arise and pass. They just arise and pass. That's it, very innocent. Innocently arising and passing. And what happens is now these manifest because of our six sense bases, at the six sense bases, right? At the six sense bases, the outside, the rupa outside, the external material falls on the eye, and the mind arises there at the contact level, passa. At that passa level, what happens is the desire and passion hits as a second moment later, like a thought moment later. Desire hits there, passion hits there, passion and desire for the seeing, if the contact is through the eye, passion and desire through the ear base, passion and desire at the contact level, and clinging happens, clinging arises, and clinging to the rupa. And through that clinging, the Vedana arises, then it clings to the Vedana, clings to the Sanya, clings to the Sankara. And the clinging creates me, mine, and my feeling, mine. And that whole phenomena, that process will lead to mental formations, fermentations. These mental formations become fermentations, keles, and those will lead to anusaya keles and ashrava. Ashrava means ashraya is like association. So constantly these thought waves come through the eye, and passion and desire, clinging, and then mental fermentations and anusaya keles, and more fermentations, ashravas build up. Okay. Right underneath in the deep psyche, the ashravas build up. So that is what happens with the 5 clinging aggregates when the clinging happens to the aggregates. Yeah. Whereas with the arhats, the person who has purified the mind, where wisdom hits at the contact level instead before desire and tanha. Wisdom, prajna hits before tanha at the contact level. And then sees that anicca dukkha anatta of the rupa, and there is no clinging, there is no passion, there is no desire, there is no clinging, there is no me mind, there is no fermentations or anusaya keles or ashrava built up. So that is a difference in practical terms of the two, the clinging aggregates and just 5 aggregates and 5 clinging aggregates. So it's the wisdom hitting at the contact level. So for the wisdom to hit at contact level at the 6 sense basis, what one must do is to be in the present moment, all the time, every moment. Toka tokang kane kane, here and now, and knowing. And then that there, this total letting go happens even without your knowing. At every moment, something hits your 6 sense bases.
Yes. And I also thought, now when you talked about anicca or anitya, what does it actually mean, ma'am? Because we say that anicca is change.
Yeah.
And then there are some people, because one person actually asked me, does every change make us feel sad? Because sometimes there are explanations like if something is anicca, that is dukkha. Does anicca mean change alone?
Anicca is in practical levels. Mātara Jnanaranda Swamin Wahanse Mahanayaka Hamdru has explained in his book in 3 levels. Anicca can be like kshaya veema, vaya veema, like wear and tear in things generally, in the gross level. Then the viparinama, that is the change.
Changes.
Yeah. And then the sankhara anicca, that is the rising, passing, udayavaya, the ativima and antivima, or rising, passing of phenomena, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana. That is the deepest level of seeing anicca. So the change is that we think that certain things are permanent and pleasant and pleasurable and mine, and the mind tries to keep it permanent.
Yeah.
So the change, the destruction, the deterioration of things, material and feeling, and the mind states give rise to suffering. The one who knows that and one who has experienced that can associate everything, be in that good feeling, happy feeling, be in comfortable environments, and knowing will not go to suffering, because when things change, the mind knows that's the way it is. That is their nature. That is their quality. So it will not fluctuate. It will be like tata, like calm. And so you can be in any environment. So Buddha's middle path is not to shun certain things and to go to the other side, and not to get attached and praise one side and shun the other side. The middle is you accommodate both. You understand both. Because the dukkha arise and pass, the sukha arise and pass. Both arise and pass. So one is not superior to the other. They are both arising, passing phenomena. Yeah. So you can be in dukkha in calm mind, because it will pass. And if you're in sukha, you can be in sukha, in calm mind, because it will pass, knowing that it will pass. So they are both, you have equanimity towards both of those.
Yes. Well, since we have around 4 to 5 minutes more, ma'am, I would like you to give some sort of important message to our viewers, or anything that you would like to sum up, anything in this discussion, or anything that you feel is important mentioning, something worthwhile mentioning.
All right. So we started with right view. And I thought that was a really good question, and the practical of the right view. So I'm going to give you this little example. So you can keep this like a little mechanism in your mind and how it works. And if you're aware of that mechanism, it will help you to gear your mind in the present moment, because we said the right view leads to the right effort to keep the mind in the present moment. And we stressed how important the present moment, being in the present moment is. And we link that with the right view. Say, if you say, if for this argument's sake, that right view is there, we are having right view, we are striving towards achieving right view, supramundane right view, and it's there. The path towards the right view, if we take it as a straight path, straight line, like ujucha sujucha, the straight line to right view, and right view sakkaya sammaditthi is here. So our mind is here. Early in the morning we get up and our mind is in the present moment. We have made a determination. Today I'm going to be in the present moment as much as I can. So you are watching this mechanism in the mind, and here you are in the present moment doing your thing, and suddenly, let's say, for argument's sake, for discussion, you got feeling of liking to something, like a liking, a nandiya, and then that liking to a kama chandak, then it turned to a kama raga, and then it became a kama klesha, this thought, and then kama klesha, now it's going this way from the straight line. Now you're not in the straight line anymore, because the kama raga has arisen, and it's going in a circle. And kama klesha to akusala vipaka, and that akama akusala vipaka will come in the circle straight back to where it started, where your mind. So the vipaka will come to your own mind, go round and come to your mind. So as soon as you are aware that my mind now here became a lustful feeling, you know the mechanism that it will go around and the vipaka will come straight to me. I will get my mind back to the present moment, and you keep it there. And the more, every moment your mind is free from lobha, moha, dvesha, greed, delusion, and aversion, it will be in the straight line, straight path to sammaditthi, the right view. And keep this mechanism in your head and think, I'm not going in a circle and suffering, I'm going in the straight line, and watch the mind every moment.
Definitely. And that is exactly why the Chittavagga says, the wise one keeps his mind controlled like a fletcher that straightens his arrow. So thank you so much, Dr. Shiroma Bandara, for being with us today and for all that effort put into this, the explanation of answering these questions sent by our viewers. And if you have questions, ma'am, would you mind giving your email address to them? So
the email address is shiroma@hotmail.co.uk.
Yeah, with
that is shiroma@hotmail.co.uk.
Okay, so thank you so much, folks, for being with us, and special thank you to Dr. Shiroma Bandara, and please be with us the next week as well, and we intend to take up yet another program to answer your questions. Thank you so much. May the most noble triple gem bless you.